In the last video I mentioned that we are going to connect the Vorschlag and the Nachschlag. Let's define more of these terms so this gets more complicated than it needs to be. The Vorschlag, being the first and dictating action of the exchange, necessitates a Nachschlag. This is not connected to the modern use of the term afterblow, even though literal translation, but the Nachschlag is just an imminent action that happens after the Vorschlag. To this day, the term Vorschlag is used in German to make a suggestion. Meth? I don't do drugs. Don't do drugs, kid. The term Nachschlag in German is, by the way, often used today to describe getting a second round of food. Quite literally, our goal is to have a cake and eat it too. Haha. Back in the day, these terms were used in forging. The Vorschlag was what the master would strike, showing the place and strength. The Nachschlag, the apprentice is throwing, is supposed to go. And as you would expect, the hammer that is used to make the Vorschlag is just a hammer, and the hammer that the apprentice uses to make the Nachschlag is called a Vorschlaghammer. What the fuck? All of this derailing was supposed to show a Nachschlag is dictated by the Vorschlag, so we would do well to win it. But it do be hard, like one of the words in Kunstes Fisch. And today we cover the very essence as basis to get there. Millions of years Hengen. There are the Oberhengen and the Unterhengen. So, for that, the Oberhengen are Ochs to other side, the Unterhengen are Pflug to other side. While I use 32278 a lot, I won't be using its terminology here because it is so confusing. This doesn't mean they only correspond to their opening in the name, of course. I can cover my lower left with a right Unterhengen or the top right with a left Oberhengen. So Oberhengen is Ochs and Unterhengen is Pflug. More about terms that we absolutely need. The reason ties to Hengen being a concept. As Hengen they get a different meaning. The noble Hengen doesn't want to be without the Wenden, as from the Hengen you should bring the Winden. Now I won't go into the very depths of where the term Winden comes from and what it means, but for us here, Winden is an action where we move from one Hengen with one of the three wounders. The three wounders being thrusts, cuts and slices, often into another Hengen. This is to solidify in our brains how we use these guards and why they have extra terms. Hengen are a concept and they work together with wounders to form actions being Winden. Performing a Winden means to take action. By that they force reaction. We will remember that for later. 32278 has an interesting section in the Hände drücken or pressing hands part. It focuses on the Wenden, which is the literal act of turning our edge against the opponent's flat. With a forward edge we are supposed to displace cuts and thrusts. The closer to our hilt, the easier it is. Abwenden, or averting, turning away, before all things. This is the literal translation here. A good fencer needs to be able to turn away. Abwenden. This does not directly say that Abwenden is done being on the receiving end, but it heavily implies it, and pulling it off offensively still implies dealing with the threat at hand. I recommend practicing it from the receiving end before moving on to prolonging the Vorschlag. As addendum, the Oberhengen works amazingly with the Verkehrer place, where we fall onto the opponent's sword for a Sperren, and wind from there. So be able to protect yourselves with the Hengen. One Hengen can cover a lot of us just by making small adjustments. This is crucial to understand, as it is necessary to know the fastest way into a defending Hengen at hand. From experience, switching into a neighboring Hengen is almost always faster and the shortest way. And sometimes you don't even need to switch Hengen, all you need to do is adjust the Hengen you are currently in. A cover from right Pflug into right Ochs or from left Ochs into left Pflug is faster than switching from right Pflug into left Ochs. I know you do it.
Stop it. Get some help.
It is with Wenden that we can safely work us back into the fore in case we were late and our opponent has made their Vorschlag. For all of these positions that we turn away, we should be able to move into a cut, thrust or a slice. I recommend you stick with Einwinden at first. These are usually easier. It doesn't rule out point offline. Get creative. I really like to implement short edge cuts, for example. If we cannot pull these off, we are certainly not ready to pull it off after a Vorschlag, because it is hard. Winds are initiative retaking actions, and it is easiest in the beginning to learn them from the defensive side. I recommend you don't let yourself be constrained. If there is anything to take from this video, do not forget about the Abwenden, because before all things, you should be learning this. This means we actually need to know how to defend, because with the Abwenden we come into the Winden, from where we will drive the art and prettiness of fencing.